This is a military base, an air base in Honduras. It's about 50 miles from the capital of that country. It's called Sotocano. The United States has been at this base in Honduras for decades. The largest U.S. military task force in Central America operates out of this base. This is the base where U.S. presidents and vice presidents have flown into and been received by Honduran officials for more than 40 years. Sotocano is a big part of America's military footprint in Central America, but it is not technically an American base. The base belongs to Honduras, and the U.S. just uses it under a long-standing agreement with that country's government. Well, just a few days ago, in a New Year's Day address to her country, the president of Honduras said that the United States is not going to be able to use that anymore. She said if Donald Trump starts mass deportations of immigrants when he takes office, Honduras effectively reserves the right to kick the U.S. military out of that base, which has more than 1,000 U.S. personnel at it right now, and that we've been using for decades. She said, quote, "Faced with a hostile attitude of mass expulsion of our brothers, we would have to consider a change in our policies of cooperation with the United States, especially in the military arena. Without paying a cent for decades, they maintain military bases in our territory, which in this case would lose all reason to exist in Honduras." That news from Honduras comes on the heels of some other really interesting news from the Vatican. Today, Pope Francis appointed a new archbishop for Washington, D.C. Now, Washington, D.C. is not the biggest Catholic diocese in the country, but it is very influential for all the obvious reasons. And for this very influential post, Pope Francis chose Cardinal Robert McElroy. Cardinal McElroy is known as an outspoken defender of immigrants. In 2016, for example, after Donald Trump was first elected, McElroy said if the new Trump administration was going to embark upon the pathway of massive deportation, then, quote, "the Catholic community must move immediately to wide-scale opposition, and we must move with the same energy, commitment, and immediacy that have characterized Catholic opposition on the issues of abortion and religious liberty in recent years." Of Trump's threats to do mass deportations, McElroy said, quote, "The church can never acquiesce or cooperate with such a grave evil in our society." Quote, "We must label this policy proposal for what it is, an act of injustice which would stain our national honor in the same manner as the progressive dispossessions of the Native American peoples of the United States and the internment of the Japanese." Welcome back to Washington, President Trump. That's your new archbishop.